several times during Russia's 3.5-year war, but never before any Russian drone has been shot down by a NATO nation. Zelensky says the attack was an attempt to humiliate Poland. The drone incursions came a day after Poland's newly elected president Karol Nawrocki warned that Putin was ready to invade more countries after launching his war in Ukraine. In Europe, the calls are growing for stricter action against Moscow, but the response from Washington has been lukewarm. Vice President J.D. Vance says President Trump does not believe Russia should be cut off from the global economy, beyond the context of its war against Ukraine. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Mr. John Erath is a Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation. He's now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Mr. Erath, good to see you. A lot of divergent opinions regarding the Poland incident. Russia has downplayed it. Poland activated NATO's Article 4 to consult with their allies. The question of who did it now arises. But in your view, was there a sort of miscalculation?
I think that the incursion into Polish airspace was highly calculated and intended to send a very strong message that Russia is serious about continuing the war and that any support to Ukraine risks bringing NATO countries into the war, which is something that most of them don't want. So I think it was a very carefully timed and calibrated message from Russia to Poland and to other NATO countries.
Mr. Erath, why did Poland invoke Article 4 and not Article 5? Is it because it does not trigger military action, or why did Poland choose consultations and caution?
Normally in the NATO context, Article 4 is invoked prior to Article 5. It's a signal that there is an imminent threat to a NATO member and that it should be taken very seriously and that immediate consultation is needed. Article 4 has only been invoked a handful of times in the history of NATO and always for a serious, imminent kind of threat. So that was the appropriate response at this time, and it was logical that Poland should do this with so many drones entering its airspace.
Mr. Erath, one last simple question to you, and I know you've mentioned this. Is NATO now inching towards a war with Russia?
I think it's almost the opposite. Russia is using this to signal that it does not want war, but it's trying to do so from a position of strength by warning NATO countries that war is a strong possibility if they provide troops to Ukraine. This is what has been under discussion in the West in recent weeks, the possibility that should there be a peace agreement, that NATO troops will become peacekeepers in Ukraine. And this is something Russia does not want and does not want to provoke war with NATO. So they are trying to warn off NATO members at this point to avoid sending their troops to Ukraine with the message that this could lead to war.
Mr. John Erath, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today.
Breaking news coming in. The Polish Prime Minister has invoked NATO's Article 4 for urgent talks with members of the Western Defence Alliance. In fact, Tusk has also warned that Russian actions have brought Poland closest to open conflict since the Second World War. Listen to this.
This situation brings us the closest we have been to open conflict since World War II. We have a full-scale war beyond our Ukrainian-Russian border, but we already have something that goes beyond the bounds of mere provocations in our own skies. And perhaps today we need to say it again very loudly and clearly. Poland today has a political enemy who does not conceal his hostile intentions beyond its eastern border.
The Tusk also told the parliament that Poland had identified 19 violations of its airspace overnight and shot down at least 3 drones, while Poland's interior ministry has said that 7 drones and debris from an unknown projectile had so far been located. The Kremlin, however, is yet to respond.
Poland's airspace was violated last night by a large number of Russian drones. Those that could be a significant threat were shot down.
The Dutch Prime Minister, meanwhile, said that its F-35 fighter jets provided support to Poland in shooting down the Russian drones, further saying that the violation of Polish airspace by Russia proved that Moscow poses a threat to European security. In response to the unprecedented airspace violation, Poland has summoned Russia's temporary charge d'affaires to the Polish Foreign Ministry for a meeting. In fact, the Polish airspace violation has drawn widespread criticism across Europe. The EU chief has slammed Russia, calling the drone incursions reckless and unprecedented. EU's top diplomat, meanwhile, has said that Russia appeared to have intentionally violated the Polish airspace. NATO also issued a statement saying its air defenses helped counter drones in the Polish airspace. The French president, meanwhile, called the Russian action simply unacceptable and urged Moscow to stop its reckless behavior. The Ukrainian president accused Russia of deliberately targeting Poland and pushed for joint air defense with Europe to counter the threat from Moscow. Meanwhile, flights resumed operations at Warsaw's biggest airport after it was temporarily closed this morning due to the Russian drone incursions.